everybody. This is Chan Ganaway of The Masters Fitness. Man, have we got an episode 3 for you. We have 3 guests. Reggie Williams is returning for a third visit for this episode based out of Colorado. Kia Williams, a master trainer, educator, phenomenal insight today. She'll be our added guest. And our third and final guest, Brendan Ayanbadejo, Super Bowl champion, ex-Pro Bowler. I guess you're never an ex-Pro Bowler. I guess you're always a Pro Bowler. But retired NFL guy who is a multi-unit fitness franchise owner. So Reggie, Kia, Brendan, holy smokes, y'all. But listen, the voices of the Black community in the fitness industry is the topic. We're moving away from just information only in the first 2 podcasts, coming into solutions, possible solutions. Who's going to get involved to impact positively the Black community or lower socioeconomic communities in America? Who's going to do that? Let's talk about it, shall we? Let's get this thing rolling. Episode 3, the voices of the Black community in the fitness industry. Let's go. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 3 of the voices of the Black community in the fitness industry. And we're going to deal with 2 lanes today mainly. I'm going to have to move pretty quickly, so I'm going to get right to our guest. I'm your host, Chan Ganaway, 23-year fitness industry veteran, educator, and corporate fitness and education director. But the guest, how exciting to have Reggie back for the 3rd time. Reggie Williams, you are on my bottom right corner as I'm looking at you. Master trainer, Nike elite trainer, franchise owner, and I think we can just call you a fitness entrepreneur, Reggie. Is that safe?
That's safe to say, sir.
All right, fair enough. And I'm so happy to have Kia Williams on here, who was actually a very strong recommendation for us on this subject today. And she's also a master trainer, corporate fitness director, and content creator, but also a big advocate for change. And she will tell us what that is. I'm not going to blow her cover yet, but she really is involved at the school level, the fitness science, the education, the protocols, and things like that. So I really can't wait to hear your perspective. Welcome, Kia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I had to finish with the Super Bowl world champion. I mean, it only makes sense. All right, Brendan Ayanbadejo. He is a well-publicized advocate for the LGBT community. And look, he's not getting that excited over this podcast. I mean, he's been with, Anderson Cooper, CNN. So thanks for giving us your 30 minutes today. He is a multi-unit fitness franchise owner. And I think more importantly, he'll tell you he's a husband and a dad, right? And so how did I do, Brendan?
Oh, you did well. I'm super excited to be here. Some new people, some new faces, and some faces I've worked with for a long time. So I'm excited to learn and be a part of this wave of change with you guys.
Right on. And he's referring to the connection to me through Orange Theory as the corporate fitness and education director, and Reggie as an Orange Theory owner and also master trainer as well. So guys, listen, we're talking about really 2 lanes here today. And it really is about how do we inspire and motivate and make accessible and awareness of young Blacks getting into the fitness industry, and not necessarily young Blacks. It could be a retired athlete. It could be someone in their 30s. But the main thing is the awareness, the inspiration, and the motivation to get more young Black professionals into the fitness industry and actually look at it as a serious career, not an Instagram hoo-ha for 6 months and you blow out of here, but something they can really choose their path. And the other lane is, will a dramatic increase in Black fitness professionals at any level, be it management down to the floor trainer, impact inner city and minority communities' health and wellness? So those are the 2 lanes we want to talk about. So Kia, I'm actually going to start with you, not just because you're a lady and I'm chivalrous, but I really do want to hear your perspective on the access and awareness of getting young Blacks into the fitness lane early. Can you speak to that for us?
Sure, I'll do my best. When we are talking about accessibility, inclusion, and diversity, I hope that all of us as service providers, responsible service providers, that we will challenge the rhetoric and narrative around that and always ask ourselves, can we do better? When it comes to inclusion and diversity, those are very major factors in the success and detriment of our businesses, of the industry, whatever industry you are in, and also to our overall society. So major stakeholders at any level, whether they're participants or investors, should feel like they are welcomed, appreciated, supported, and recognized. So those are the directions that I highly encourage service providers to to have, especially as we are mentoring the younger generation to lead the change and be our successors in the fitness industry.
Right.
We want to make sure that we're instilling them with solid information, of course, but also solid support so that they have good, strong examples of what is good in the fitness industry and how to carry that torch forward, but not always repeating what they've seen or experienced in the past, but challenging what they've seen and experienced in the past for true progressiveness and true innovation.
Right, right. I love it. Great answer. And look, there could be 3 podcasts just on what does that support mean. You know what I mean? There's so many paths of support. Reggie, anything to add to the young Blacks being exposed and aware and going into the fitness industry?
Yeah, I mean, great answer, Kia. I know for myself, I want to be more intentional about getting into those communities. It's been more about what's come versus actively getting into the community and being able to provide opportunities. So yeah, excited about that.
That's a great point. I think you and I talked episode 2, Reggie, a little bit about what direction are you going? Is the industry going to the community, or is the community constantly trying to reach out and basically beg for, attention? And I think changing the lane direction is really important. BA, anything about young Blacks or Blacks in general, thinking inner city, thinking not inner city? How do we get these guys more involved?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it is we talk about opportunity, and there's several different types of opportunity. You can give somebody a fish, or you can teach somebody how to fish. If you give somebody a fish, then you always have to go back and give them a fish. If you can teach them how to fish, now you've created an opportunity and sustainability. Right. Now, as I think about you, Chan, you're just maybe one generation ahead of myself and Reggie, and of course, Kia is beautiful. She's way younger than all of us. But as I think about you, think about how hard it was for you to be a fitness professional. You're truly a pioneer, a unicorn. And then you take a generation older than you, and maybe that's a Ellen Latham that's 1 or 2 generations older than you. So I think even in your field, you guys figured it out, but a lot of people had to pivot at some juncture out of fitness. Now, with myself and Reggie, we're coming off of your coattails. Now, how do we provide opportunity in lower socioeconomic communities? We went from being talent, meaning athletes, right? And now, you can transition from being an athlete, or maybe you weren't an athlete. Now you can transition to a sustainable business where we can educate you on how to be a fitness professional. You can make 6 figures, and not only can you find profit, but you can find purpose and you can find passion, and you're fixing a problem through fitness. So I think we have to bring the 4 P's that I just mentioned, and we have to bring that, hey, there's a feasible career here that you can have where you can have your cup filled every single day by impacting and changing lives. I think a lot of people with our skin color or people of color, they're thinking of that they're just talent. Once I'm not an athlete anymore, then I have to pivot to whatever the next business is, but you can still find that same passion, that same feeling if we educate you and teach you how to be a fitness professional. So that's just something I'd like to think about and have us think about a little bit as well. And how do we get there and how do we do that and implement that?
Well, I think, these types of podcasts, if we get enough listeners and shares, people start to put it in their consciousness instead of, kind of just when it pops up, I'll discuss it, but it's actually leading the consciousness part of it. And I think to all of your point, you said it differently, all 3 of you, but the same thing is that we have to put it out there, the difference between a serious career path. What does that mean? And that takes what Reggie and I talked about a lot, mentoring, opening yourselves up for consultations, being a consultant to the industry through the inner city, going that direction. So I think it's just an absolute ton of conversations of the fitness industry moving towards that population versus vice versa, which we know is not going to happen at a successful level. So I think it's really important. So those are very good. Thank you for that, guys. Now listen, we do want to, we'll talk about more the support piece of getting them in. Kia, you talked to me on the phone the other day. At the university level, we talked about having a plan B. And Brendan, Reggie and I 2 episodes ago talked about Division I athlete, scholarship athlete. It doesn't work out for them at the pro level, or pro level lasts 3 years. What's the plan B? And I'm a little naive, I said it to everyone at times, but I think if you could show these people who maybe don't get that big scholarship or don't make it to the pro level, that a plan B could be a wonderful, long, positive fitness career. And I think what was I trying to say with Reggie the other day, Reggie? It was about giving them the tools and the exposure immediately, early in their college career, even in high school, to let them know that plan B can be, you can be around your passion. You can be around your athletic performance. You can be around that vibe that you love so much as a career. So Kia, talk about us at the college level. You and I had a brief conversation about college specific education and certifications. And you and I even talked about maybe there's some free education opportunities for the inner city.
Sure, absolutely. So I have worked many years in higher education on the faculty and staff level. So, and I'm also a college graduate. So I see it from different lenses as a student and also as a mentor and support to students and trying to show stewardship on college campuses. Athletic identity is very strong for college students. I'm from the South, and it's no stereotype that football and cheerleading are huge sports in the South. So we are very prideful about that. And oftentimes, even for myself, fitness was sort of introduced to us as a gateway from athletics. Oftentimes we experience injured athletes who go through physical therapy and then transition into our gyms to continue their training regimens, or ex-athletes who are used to strength and conditioning programming in that gym setting, who then come to our physical fitness facilities or rec centers to continue on to that familiar journey. When I was on college campuses, I worked very hard to get grants and scholarships for students within kinesiology, exercise physiology, and those types of fields that feed into the fitness industry, because fitness is an expensive sport. There's a cost to entry, which creates a barrier to entry, and also a cost to upkeep. You got to get your CECs and CEUs. You've got to continue to keep your certifications up to date. You got to get new certifications because science change, as it should. It should always evolve. But how can we better support our students? Now, we recognize that college is not for everyone. And if we're truly challenging the narrative and the rhetoric around the word accessibility, if not everyone is coming to college, how do we still reach them? So I've also reached out to community colleges and high schools with the hope, I'm still in the works of doing this, that when high school students graduate, perhaps they could graduate with some kind of fitness certification. When college students graduate, they can graduate with a personal training certification or group fitness or even yoga certification, because I've experienced nursing students make great personal trainers and great yoga teachers. So I want to be able to support that interest as they're engaging as well. And what I think is a huge plus on putting the spotlight on college education, because we recognize that the monetary issue, I use the word issue loosely, is a concern for young Black students and students of color. Some of them are on scholarship. Some of them get financial aid and grants. Perhaps they can use some of that money to subsidize the cost of getting a certification. Even better of a thought, if the certification was part of the college curriculum, then it's being paid for through tuition and fees.
It's baked in. Yeah.
It's baked in anyway. So we're giving students more opportunity and even more bang for their buck. Right. And I think within these college courses that are specific to the practical skills that they can gain with the human performance curriculum that they are learning, that we can also give them internships, get them paid internships.
Thank you very
much. Yes, sir.
Bam.
Paid internships. Because I have a huge issue with people not paying other people for their work. I think we have laws against that, don't we? But
somebody's eyebrows just popped up.
but allowing them the experience that they need before they get out of school, so that they have a better opportunity of getting the jobs of their dreams. If a college student says to me, I want to be a pro athlete, or I want to be a sports agent or a sports broadcaster, awesome, shoot for the stars. How can I support you? But let's have a plan B. So Chad, that's what you referenced.
We did.
Let's have a plan B.
Yeah.
And I don't, because I'm married to the fitness industry, I don't view it as a plan B. It's my primary focus, but I got to know my audience and who I'm speaking to. So if fitness to them is a plan B, so be it. How can I support you on that route as well? So that is an easy transition for them. And it's not seen as a failure because there's this very small margin of young students who make the pros, but you can still see it as, all right, that didn't work, but I have these other opportunities.
Well, I think there's a lot of passion in these athletes. They actually learn a lot as they're training. Reggie and I talked about it the other day. Athletes now are learning how to train. They're not just kind of turning their brains off and just listening to their coach and do whatever they say. They're actually participating mentally into what they're actually doing in the training. I would think a college athlete comes out pretty damn knowledgeable about how to train the human body. And
I agree.
But we need the undertone of education, internships, mentoring, which Brendan, I got a big whopper of a question for you in a second. But Reggie, on the underlayer, the mentoring, the internship, the piece that we get them early, can you add a little bit to that?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about, Kia. You know, I believe that it does need to start, or it doesn't have to, but it should start as a vocation slash training certification early on, maybe in high school. And then that way they can come out with a certification and then maybe go to college if that fits, or be able to have a platform to grow from right there. So I think the earlier that we can start to get a solid foundation of education and knowing how to train the body is going to be better. So.
I think it's great. And look, NASM, I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have a foundations of personal training. Do you remember that one, Reggie? Kia? You remember that one?
Yep.
Foundations of personal training. So you could definitely set them up on a 4-tiered, you know, where they come out and by the time they're 2021, they really have a lot of tools in their toolkit, man. They really do. So Brendan, to you, sir, let's talk about, am I being naive to think if we increase the number of young Black fitness professionals by a couple of 100,000, that would then go back into and impact very positively inner city health and wellness?
Yeah, let me get back to that one in just a second. I just want to chime in on just the conversation that we're having right now. Okay. Is the language does need to change. It's not a plan B. It is what's next. And it's not a if, it's when. So, you know, I played 13 years of professional sports, made a lot of money and did this and that, but I'm in the fitness industry now. So it's not if, it's when. You don't retire from sports, you transition out of sports. Right. So the thing that we start talking, you know, language, you know, we're starting to drop a seed. Once you start giving certain type of language, you're dropping a seed, you're planting a seed. So it's not if, it's when. And then also, so Chan, you keep saying like inner cities. Well, there's poor people everywhere.
For sure.
There's poor white people as well. So we want to make fitness inclusive, and so everybody can have it, and fitness education inclusive for everyone to have it. So
for sure.
Doesn't need to be inner cities. I say maybe we look at lower socioeconomic communities, and then that way we can impact people of color. We can impact white people. The health of the poorer you are, probably the worse your health is, because there's less education around health, fitness, food, diet, so on and so forth. So we can help a lot of people. We don't need to just say Black people. We want to help anybody that's been disenfranchised, and money is, like Kia said earlier, is a barrier to entry. Yes. Now, talking about getting into the communities. Yes. You know, I worked with the American Diabetes Association. I didn't know if you changed your body composition by 5%, you can get off your diabetes medicine and you're not a type 2 diabetic anymore. By 5%. So if you weigh 200 pounds, we're talking about losing 10 pounds. And you could potentially save your life by losing 10 pounds.
That sounds like a small number, right?
It's a small number. It's really accessible. It's you know, but the education isn't out there. So, and what do a lot of people of color suffer from? Diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, cholesterol. Look at the food that a lot of us are eating. So, yes, the more people we get in the fitness industry, in the fitness track, it's directly going to impact America, which is the sickest country in the world. We're not looking for an aid. We're looking for a Band-Aid. Not an aid, we're looking for a Band-Aid. Your aid can be fitness, education, you can impact and change your life. And it starts with all of us right here.
Yeah, and I literally think it's K through 5. Like, I go back all the way, like bring them up in that environment of health. And look, the parents may or may not be supporting that at home. They may not, but I think we got to catch them early. And education is certainly it. Is there, and anybody can answer this, is there in your mind and in your observations, is there an organization that is leading this Do they have a name? Does it have a name?
Jump rope for heart. I did it when I was in elementary school. I assume you guys did it in elementary school. I mean, it's very simple. You know, you can expand organizations like that. The NFL has a program that I worked with, and the name changed a little bit over the years, but we actually do go to elementary schools all over the United States. Well, the 32 cities that have teams, and we go and we do fitness programming with the kids, and we take them through speed ladders and agilities, and jump rope for heart is incorporated into that. I'm sure you guys probably know of some other ones, but I think that we're starting to realize like how important fitness really is, and getting the kids off the video games and really getting them out there and getting them active and moving.
Well, I'm thinking, you know, if we get the younger generation, and we're gonna call them young Black professionals, Brendan, just for the sake of this podcast. But if that generation, and they have kids and they have families, I know Key and I joked the other day, if there's a healthy, fitness-oriented Black mama, you know the whole family's exercising. That's just the way it's going to be, because she's not going to let anybody sit around. So I think if we can really exponentially increase the number of in this case, Black professionals, I think it will have. I think it will have a dramatic impact potentially. But again, who's going to put together the infrastructure? It's probably, you know, to your point, Brendan, it's not one company. It's dozens, if not hundreds of companies. And I remember the NFL thing was like Fit 60 or something. I don't remember.
Play 60.
You play 60, exactly.
Play 60 minutes a day. Yeah.
Brilliant name. Absolutely brilliant name. So I think that's really amazing. So Reggie, talk to me anything else about community trainers. I know that you told me just literally 13 minutes ago, it's on your radar now. You're going to make a conscious effort. How do you see yourself doing that? What does that conscious effort look like physically?
Yeah, Brendan actually said it well earlier, was give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. And so that's where I'm constantly looking at, instead of putting an activity together, we'll be going for a weekend, why not go in and produce some talent that can go in and can just continue to spread the net. So I don't know what that looks like. That's why these conversations are great, and hearing all the different ideas, and then being able to go back and then brainstorm and you know, just figure out how to make this thing happen. But I believe the tools are already in place, even listening to Kia and working on internships and stuff like that. That's what I believe is going to be the first layer of this.
And we talked, Key and I talked briefly the other day that an exercise science or kinesiology degree, Reggie, when I was coming through, you got the HFI certification and credential from ACSM. That was part of the curriculum, and she says that's no longer. So they're not necessarily getting a qualified high-end training credential that they used to. You know, it's not it. So
not across the board. Yeah. There are still agencies like ACSM, NASM, and ACE that in-house create content that can be used by the college rec centers or within the courses, but it truly is up to the instructors on an individualized level to choose if they want to use that or not.
Got it. Thank you. Good clarification. Hey, Brendan, talk to me about increasing the number of Black fitness business owners. Is that a thing? Could it be discussed? Is it a legitimate subject?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to talk about opportunity. Something that I was discussing with Reggie last week is that how do we cast that net, and how do we get people into the net to give them opportunities? So I think that, you know, you start on the ground level. I want to start with offering free boot camps in lower socioeconomic communities. From there, let's have them have some skin in the game. Can you commit to coming out here 6 times a week? I'll meet you every Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, 6 times a week. Give me your phone number, email, so on and so forth. Can we get 30 people out here? Can we get 40 people in the community out here? Once you do that, from there, as you all know, we don't find fitness. Fitness finds us, right?
Exactly.
So there you already have a talent pool of people, 30, 40, 50, 60. It might be 10, it might be 15 people. With those people, you start dropping little seeds to them. Are you interested in fitness? Could you see yourself in the fitness industry? Would you want to be a group trainer? Would you want to be a studio manager? Would you want to be an entrepreneur or a franchisee in fitness? And so you're starting to just build this pool of people, having the community invite other people in the community maybe partnering with programs that serve lower socioeconomic communities and exploring those partnerships and relationships, which is all things that we're doing. But I can see one day that in South Central Los Angeles, where I wouldn't go to put in Orange Theory as an entrepreneur, but we're going to drop in Orange Theory there, and eventually it'll be owned, operated, ran, participated in by people that live in that community. So I think, you know, you have to start on the ground, the entry level, and in a way, it's also, you're persuading people into fitness, but you're giving them the opportunity, like, hey, come here, I'm going to give you some free fitness.
Right.
From here, where else can I stoke the fire and stoke the flame? Are you interested in all these other categories that come? There's a technology track with Orange Theory Fitness. You know, you need accountants, you need lawyers, you need attorneys, you need studio managers, assistant managers, front desk. Everyone in the community can operate in Orange Theory. We just have to teach them how to do it. So we'll give them the education, the curriculum, the opportunity. And then another thing, Chan, we're talking about was being colorblind. Well, I don't think that's necessarily what we're looking for. We're not looking for colorblind. I think I want to be known and seen as a Black man, even though I'm half white as well, but I'm pretty much comfortable in the skin as being known as a Black man. And with that being said, I don't want to be treated equally. I want to be treated fairly. If you're going to just treat everybody equally, then you're going to ignore the history that's happened in the United States where we haven't been treated equally. So until we get on an equal playing field, you have to recognize me for who I am and what I am. My sister Kia as well, my brother Reggie, and of course you as well, Chan. We want to recognize you guys for who you are and what you are. We want people to be sensitive to maybe what somebody else has gone through. And through that, maybe there's going to be more opportunity. And once we get on a level playing field, then maybe we can just see past color and see people for people and for who their hearts are. But I think we want to be treated fairly as well. So this is why we're going to these communities, because people haven't had opportunity. I don't necessarily want to represent an opportunity to somebody that's had all the opportunity in the world. I want to find the people that haven't had any opportunity at all.
Yes.
And so hopefully we can find some of those entrepreneurs and eventual franchisees and managers that haven't had opportunity and give them that opportunity.
And rock stars. And you know what? And they a lot of them end up being absolute rock stars. They found their thing, right? I think it's awesome. Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to an uncomfortable conversation with a Black man. Have you been watching any of those? With the former defensive player? And he really is on the same exact track as you, Brendan. He's like, no, I want to see you. I want to see your color, but then I just want to treat you fairly. He goes, I have no interest in people being colorblind. And so I certainly don't mean that literally. I just mean from a don't judge. Don't judge. That's really where my heart comes from, is don't judge it. But I do. I'm definitely on board with see my color, see my heritage, see my culture, but treat me fairly. And I think that's a wonderful way for us to finish up this thing. Kia, I'm going to give you last thoughts. Yeah.
Sorry, real quick. Maybe it's the opposite of judge. Maybe it's give. Instead of judging and taking something away from somebody, maybe it's give.
Yeah.
Just real quick, just trying to get us to think in a different mindset.
Oh, I love it, Brendan. That's why we're here, man. That's exactly why we're having this event. Kia, 60 seconds. What you got?
All right, team. It's a top-down, bottom-up approach. So planting those positive seeds and making change makers within our community, we're instilling the importance of fitness. Maybe that starts at a PE level, or maybe that goes to us providing more services for adults who have children and whatever else, other factors. But all in all, for everyone who's listening, I just hope that moving forward, we will continue to treat ourselves with respect, treat others with dignity, create solutions, variations of solutions, and be inclusive. Welcome diversity, and make a positive impact on society.
Beautiful. We need to get you on stage, girl. Reggie.
Yes, sir. Yeah. No, awesome. Man, just great folks on the show. It's beautiful. But really just looking at continue to move the conversations into tangible things that we can actually put to work and provide these opportunities and just see the fruits of all that. So
yeah, I don't want sorry, Reggie. I don't want big, hairy goals that just fall on their face because they're too big and dramatic. And I think that's Brendan speaking from experience when he says it's ground floor. It's the only way. Yeah. Anyway, Brendan, close us out, baby.
Man, I think Biden's looking for a running mate, Kia. He's looking for a VP. Yeah. You got my nomination. Thank you, guys. I love the insight that you guys bring.
Thanks, Joe.
Even if you guys didn't say anything at all, I love and I appreciate your smiles and your energy, and you can just feel that passion. And this is what it means to be an American. Americans all coming together to provide solutions. One of our biggest crises in America is health, mental health, physical health, and the health of our brains with the isms that a lot of Americans have. So I think all of you guys are breaking down those barriers, and we're making our country a better place for our children and for future generations. And I love that we can do that through fitness, because we know sports does it, we know music does it, and there's certain things that divide us. But through fitness, I mean, really, if you just have a little certification, a little bit of knowledge and education, a little programming, you can go out into your community and you can do so much.
On, totally. But it's going to take mentors. It's going to take people going out and actually doing, you know, I'm not going to say hard work, but doing the interpersonal work of meeting people literally face to face and getting them interested. And as you said, the bonus, Brendan, would be the career, you know, conversation instead of just that boot camp, 40 people at a high school track. There's the other bonus part of it, which then starts to push them and encourage them and see who.
That's where the thinking comes into play. That's where the mastery comes into play. And it's so cool. Like we literally can provide, we can literally show people how to fish and provide for their families and their communities and fill their cups and have so much passion and purpose and profit and wake up every day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind through fitness.
Truly, wow. Man, it's beautifully stated. Listen, guys, I'm fascinated by this. I absolutely love it. My roots with the Black communities in my career have been very deep. I have some incredible friends, and now I've got a new one in you, Kia. So thank you very much. Carrie says goodbye. And listen, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this thing off in about 10 seconds. I do want a 4th episode, so I'll be in touch. If you guys are interested, great. If you're not, it's okay. I totally get it. But I am going to send out a request for a 4th. And because I want to take the 3 podcasts worth of information. Reggie, you've been on all 3. And I want to kind of summarize those, if you will, Reggie, because there's been a lot of dialogue. I want to kind of get it summarized into maybe the top 3 that are tangible, as you said, Reggie, that we could maybe actually start to get people to execute on. And if you guys are interested, I'd love to have you again. Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Reach out.
Guys,
appreciate you, brother.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Happy July 4th. And we'll see you guys hopefully next week.
Farewell. Be well.
Bye, gang.